Welcome to our second reading of Mega Monsters by David Walliams. So we're up to Chapter 3, Circling Fins. Larka spun around in the sea, desperate to speed back to the boat. "Help!" she cried, which was a bit rich, as she was the one who had just leapt into the sea. However, between her and the boat was another shark, and another, and another. Fins were circling the girl. Any moment now, she was about to become shark food. "Help!" she cried again as she felt another huge beast brushing past her legs. Larka shut her eyes tight. Next, she felt something hard prodding her arm. She didn't dare open her eyes. It must be the nose of a shark. It prodded again. Larka opened one eye. It was the end of an oar. The mysterious boatman was trying to rescue her. Larka held on tight as she was dragged through the water, sharks snapping at her heels. Snap, snap, snap. Swoosh! When she reached the side of the boat, the figure hauled her on board, but not before the biggest and seemingly hungriest of the sharks had sunk its razor-sharp teeth into her duffel coat. Munch! Larka ended up in a soaking wet heap in the boat, while the cot disappeared under the waves. "I never did like that duffel coat," she joked. Needless to say, the boatman didn't laugh, or giggle, or even snort. Larka slumped back down on the bench in her cold, wet clothes. The boatman rowed on through the fog as the sharks fought over the coat. Who knew sharks liked the taste of duffel? Still nothing. "Come on, that was funny. You are one tough crowd, Mr. Boatman. Got another one for you. What did the shark say after eating a clamfish? That tasted a little funny. No? Got another one. How did the hammerhead do in his test? He nailed it. What happens when you mix a shark with a cow together? I don't know, but I wouldn't want to milk it. Come on. These are gold." The boatman did not respond in any way and continued rowing in perfect rhythm. Larka sat there trying to enjoy the view of the fog. As she listened, she could swear she heard the sound of ticking and whirring like a clock, but louder. Tick-tock, tick-tock. "Can you hear that?" she asked, then shook her head. There was no way she was going to get an answer out of him. "Never mind. Wake me up when we get to the fun fair." Larka closed her eyes and pretended to sleep. Suddenly, she felt a terrible chill. A wicked wind had whipped up. She opened her eyes to black clouds rolling low over the sea. Then lightning struck a stone's throw from the boat. Crackle! A rumble of thunder followed. Boom! Waves began to swell, rocking the rowing boat as if it were some deadly fairground ride. Larka clung on desperately, her grimly fingernails digging into the wood. The boatman didn't break his rhythm. Instead, the figure continued rowing as buckets of rain poured down on them, flooding the boat. Finally, there it was, emerging from the storm. The Cruel School. Okay, so finally we have arrived at the Cruel School. Chapter 4, The Cruel School. The silhouette of a castle stood on a huge black volcanic rock jutting out of the sea. The castle looked as if it had been randomly added to over the centuries. It was a muddle of towers and turrets. It was Gothic in style, looking as if it had become the home to a family of vampires. But the Cruel School was home to a very different type of monster. Larka was not one of them. She knew the difference between wrong and right. Silly jokes are not a crime. Now she was about to find herself living side by side with the naughtiest of the naughtiest. These kids were going to be absolute horrors. The boatman tied up the boat to a rock, and Larka scoured the island for some steps that might take her up to the castle. There were none. Instead, the world's longest rope ladder dangled down. The boatman gestured for Larka to climb the ladder. The waves were lashing against the rocks, causing explosions of spray. Splosh. "If you say so," she said, leaping on to the ladder. She clung on for dear life. Creak! The ancient rope sagged under her weight. Her sodden clothes made her twice as heavy as normal. Snap, snap, snap. Looking down to the sea, she saw sharks snapping at her ankles. Were these the same sharks? Or different sharks? It just wasn't time to ask, so she continued climbing the ladder, hauling herself up step by step. Soon the sharks were a long way down. However, halfway up, disaster struck. Her wet boots slipped on one of the rungs. Slip! "Ah!" she cried. As she tumbled through the air, whoosh! She managed to grab hold of the last rung as a giant shark reared out of the water and launched itself at her, jaws wide. Jump! Despite her exhaustion, having a shark about to eat her gave the girl a sudden burst of energy. Now she raced up the rope ladder as if her life depended on it, which it did. Clunk, clunk, clunk. In no time she reached the top. Larka kissed the cold, wet ground, such as her relief to have not been eaten alive. However, as she looked up, she saw 2 steel toe-capped boots at eye level. "Welcome to the cruel school," said a voice. "We hope you have an unpleasant stay." Chapter 5. Metal. "Get up!" came a bark. Larka scrambled to her feet. At first she thought she might still be on her knees as she was only waist height with a figure. But no, this person really was that tall. Larka's face was level with huge sets of keys dangling from a thick leather belt. The keys swung forward as the figure straightened up and bashed Larka. Bang! On the nose. Clank! Ouch! "Are you a piano?" asked Larka. The hulk of a man shook his head. "No. Why? Would you ask that?" "You have 88 keys. So you're the one who put the whoopee cushion on the headmistress's chair." He was big and beefy enough to have been a circus strongman. The man had the appearance of a cupboard that had been stuffed into overalls. To add to his startling look, he had a long scruffy beard that went all the way down to his belly button. The castle loomed behind him as if it were his own enormous shadow. "It wasn't me," protested Larka. "That's what they all say," mocked the man. "It was my teacher who did it." "A likely story. I am the caretaker, Metal. I've got a joke for you." "I don't want to hear it." "What do caretakers do at night?" "They go to sweep." "That's not funny." There it was again, that strange ticking sound Larka had heard on the boat. Tick-tock, tick-tock. "What's that?" she asked. "What's what?" "That. What's that?" "Listen. Can you hear ticking?" Tick-tock, tick-tock. No one said a word before Metal replied firmly, "No. First sign you are going bananas, hearing things that aren't there." Grumph. There was a deep, loud rumble from beneath the ground they were standing on shook. Rumble! "You must have heard that," exclaimed Larka. "Oh yes, you are not imagining that. What is that? The volcano? It is underneath our feet." The girl looked down. Who builds a castle on top of a volcano? The land must have been cheap. Even so, don't you worry, the volcano hasn't erupted for hundreds of years. Maybe it is due to. The old girl has a grumble now and again, but it's nothing to worry about. Now come with me. I will show you to your room," he said with a deep snort. Metal led Larka inside the spooky castle, along seemingly endless dark, dank stone passages, illuminated only by the occasional flaming torch. It was now long past midnight, so most of the other children must have been asleep. There was the noise of snoring and trumping echoing along the hallways. It sounded more like a zoo than a school, and smelled more like one too. Pongarilla. What? After a while, the pair arrived at a thick wooden door. The caretaker jangled through his keys until he finally found the right one. Jingle jangle. I do hope your quarters are to your satisfaction, your Royal Highness, said Metal with another low snort as he opened the heavy door. It was a cold, sad little room with a straw mattress on the bed and a rusty bucket in the corner. I love what you've done with the place, joked Larka. There's her room. Metal frowned. Cheek like that won't get you anywhere in here. Cheek ones like you find themselves in detention. Detention? I got a detention once for making chicken noises. What are you on about now? I was using foul language. Do you get it? Detention here at the cruel school is no laughing matter. Children who get detention are never the same again. Larka was alarmed. What do you mean? Keep on asking questions like that, Your Royal Highness, and you will find out for yourself. Now sleep tight and be sure to let the bed bugs bite. Let them bite? They will anyway. Just a glance at the straw mattress on the bed was enough to see it was alive with creepy crawlies. Nip, nip, scratch, scratch, whir, whir. Larka slumped down on the mattress and immediately began to itch all over. Even her itches had itches. What's more, her tummy gurgled like the depths of a swamp. Gurgle. The volcano again, remarked Metal. No, that was my tummy. I'm hungry. It sounds like it, he snorted again. What's so funny about that? Would you like to see me starve? I'd love to, but I don't have time. Breakfast is at dawn. Thank you. And it is disgusting. The caretaker limped out and the heavy wooden door swung closed. Well then, I will just have to escape, announced Larka. It's impossible. Nothing is impossible. After that, Metal disappeared down the passageway, his jumble of keys jangling all the way. Jingle, jangle, jongle. Larka was more determined than ever that she would have to find a way out, as a big